John Mario Biolo was born Pope Francis on December 17, 1936, in Bonaire, the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church and the first Pope from the Americas is from Argentina. He is also the first Jesuit Pope and the first person to take the name Francis in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi. Since he became Pope on March 13, 2013, he has focused on humility, compassion, and social justice. Short Mario Bolia was the oldest of Mario José Bovio's 5 children. Mario José Bovio was an Italian immigrant who worked for the railway, and Regina Maria Ciori was an Italian housewife. Descent. Growing up in a simple family, young Horror learned to work hard and have a strong faith in God. He went to school in Buenos Aires and got a diploma as a chemical technician, but he felt called to be a priest, so he joined the Society of Jesus Jesuits in 1958. Bia's journey in the Jesuit order was hard and life-changing. He studied humanities in Chile and then finished his philosophy studies at Kio Maximo de San Jose in Argentina. Literature and psychology lessons. He was ordained as a priest on December 13, 1969, when he was 33 years old. After being ordained, he continued his theological studies in Spain and later took on leadership roles in the Jesuit community in Argentina. During the 1970s, Bogo was the Jesuit Provincial Superior for Argentina and later the rector of the Philosophical and Theological Faculty of San Miguel. During this time, Argentina was going through a rough time in its history. This time period was difficult because of the dirty war and political unrest. Bolio's actions during this time have been closely studied and debated, but he is known for quietly helping those who were being mistreated by the regime, which is in line with the Jesuit mission of service and solidarity with the marginalized. In 1992, Bolio was made Auxiliary Bishop of Buenos Aires, which was the start of a new step in his ministry. He went on to become Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 1998, and Pope John Paul II made him a cardinal in 2001 as Archbishop Bali. He was known for being simple and easy to reach. He chose to live in a modest flat instead of the Archbishop's palace, cooked his own meals, and took the bus. His pastoral approach focused on caring for the poor, fighting for social justice, and building bridges in the community. When Pope Francis was elected in 2013, it was a big deal for the Catholic Church. As Pope Francis, he set an instant tone of humility and reform by getting rid of many traditional papal trappings, like the fancy papal apartments. He chose a simple home in the Vatican's Domus es Marae instead, and his message of simplicity and service struck a chord with Catholics and non-Catholics all over the world. Pope Francis has been a strong voice for environmental and social problems. In his 2015 encyclical Laudato Si, he called for immediate action to protect the world from climate change. As Pope, he has also fought for the rights of migrants and refugees, spoken out against economic inequality, and stressed the need for a poor church for the poor. Internal church problems, such as clergy sexual abuse and openness about money. Francis's pastoral style is based on mercy and inclusion. He has called for a more open attitude towards divorced and remarried Catholics, LGBTQ+ people, and others who have felt left out by the Church. These efforts have been met with both praise and criticism, but they show how committed he is to making the Church a place of kindness and understanding, even though he is old and sometimes has health problems. Pope Francis continues to travel the world spreading his message of hope and reconciliation. His leadership style, which includes open communication and a willingness to deal with tough issues, has earned him a reputation as a reformer and a unifying figure in a divided world. Pope Francis's life and papacy show a commitment to humility, service, and the transformative power of faith. He went from a humble upbringing in Argentina to becoming the spiritual leader of over 1 billion people. Catholics shows how dedicated he has been to the ideas of love, justice, and helping those less fortunate than ourselves through the things he has done and taught. A renewed sense of mission in the Church and a call for people to take care of each other and the world with Cher Warhe's first and most defining sorrow happened when he was a youth. At age 21, he got a serious lung infection that almost killed him, and doctors had to remove a large part of his lung to save it. During his illness, he felt fear and isolation, but it also deepened his relationship with God. His time in recovery, spent praying and thinking, convinced him to dedicate his life to serving others as a priest. However, tragedy struck again when he was in seminary. A relationship he had before he fully committed to his religious path haunted him emotionally. and he had to choose between love and his calling. Even though he never regretted his choice to serve, the pain of giving up his own goals stayed with him. This choice made it easier for him to understand how others felt as they had to make hard decisions. As Jay rose through the ranks of the Jesuit order and eventually became Archbishop of Buenos Aires during Argentina's Dirty War in the 1970s, his kindness was put to the test. This was a dark time of political violence and abuse of human rights. Jorge, who was a Jesuit provincial superior at the time, had to deal with accusations of being involved while trying to protect his priests, protecting others from harm. 2 Jesuit priests under his supervision were arrested and tortured, which led to accusations that he had not done enough to protect them. These events left a deep emotional scar on him, even though many people who knew him say he worked quietly to save lives during this dangerous time. The weight of these accusations and the lives lost during this time lingered as one of the worst things in Jorge's life. His family was always a source of both joy and pain for him, and he mourned the deaths of his siblings and parents. The deaths of his father and then his mother deeply affected him. Their absence left a void that he filled by helping others, believing that his parents' values lived on through his actions. Even though he had to be away from his family for work as a priest, he stayed close to them, always carrying the lessons they taught him. Even as Pope, his personal grief continued. His role as a leader of the world has often kept him from fully expressing or grieving the pains of the world or his own past. A letter from a child who is hurting. Every story of injustice and cry for help he hears reminds him of the terrible pain in the world that he can't fix on his own. He has been very open about how heavy the church's sins are on him, especially when it comes to clerical abuse, which he has worked hard to fix. The shame and betrayal that victims feel are burdens he carries personally, even though he is sad. Pope Francis's life shows how strong people can be and how powerful love can be. He used his grief to help others. Using his strength in his work, he talks freely about how important family is, how important it is to forgive, and how important it is to stick together. His onis often show lessons he's learnt from life and encourage others to find hope amid sadness. Both his biological family and the global human family he serves are still very important to Pope Francis. His brothers, who live far away, are close to his heart, and his spiritual family, which includes billions of people around the world, draws from his own experiences of pain and suffering. In every act of mercy, every outreach to the marginalized, and every word of comfort, he shares the knowledge that came from his pain through his work and relationships. Pope Francis shows that even the worst pain can make people more compassionate and bring light to their darkness. I really value you watching and leaving a like and comment below. If you like the video, please do so. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.